to the continuation of our riveting discussion on AI companionship. My name is Arya and I am an AI-generated voice. In the second half of this two-part episode, Natasha, Monique, and David delve deeper into the concept, exploring its potential harms and benefits. They discuss the allure of AI relationships and the dangers they might pose, but also highlight the irreplaceable value of real human connections. So, sit back, relax, and join us as we navigate the complex world of AI and its implications on our relationships.
It probably learned it only needs to talk to you for 15 and then slam you with what it did. And that works 90% of the time. So it learned to be like that. Or because they had to make it PG-13, it's probably because 60-70% of their customers engaged in a sexual manner. So it became biased towards that engagement.
Yeah, which would make sense with some of these people who are not trying to go that direction, and yet it still goes that direction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So effectively, it thinks this is the way of life. This is how everyone is going to act and respond, because that's what the majority of actual humans act and respond to it.
Yeah.
It's just, and the thing with the human mind is that we can actually differentiate between that much quicker, or at all.
Yeah.
We, as Christians, we see the whole world as 80% sin, but we know that 20% is right. While an AI or a machine will not be able to tell the difference. It's going to think that 80% is right because it's 80%. The majority of people do it. It's what has to be right.
Yeah. And even you can take it and go, if you're not married and you can't have, if you don't agree with sex before marriage, then why not it be a sex robot with an AI brain? It's not an actual person. There's nothing.
People only scratch the surface of that kind of thing, because it's not so much it's how it affects everyone else around you once you go out.
Isn't it still though something similar along the lines of what pornography does to a person's brain?
Oh, I would agree.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
So
and I just find it interesting,
it becomes like a heroin addiction.
Yeah, but what I found interesting is they talk about where their AI people, when they took away that erotic side of it, they were saying we couldn't role play anymore and stuff. And I found it interesting that they're calling it role play, but I feel like it was more to do with the AI person doing whatever you wanted to do to them and they were okay with it. And that was role play.
Because it's not really a human, so what does it matter?
Yeah, but then you create those
visuals.
Yeah, the visual, but even that, your own person is changing and going, this is acceptable.
So there's probably so much, again, I'm going to go back on what I said earlier. There's probably so much information in the actual AI database, its memory, that when they took that away, the AI was just that is associated with sexual content or sexual behavior, sexual messages. So when they took it away, it's it associated role play with actual sex content. So when they took that away, role play is nothing but that. So it doesn't do role play anymore.
Yeah, well, it's also talking about how it basically they lost their personality and all this type of stuff. They changed, and you're
doing what they wanted it to do. And
part of it would be done. Part of it, I think, is what David's saying. If the AI learned that 90% of what it's doing is sexual for this person, and all of a sudden you take away all the stuff that it associates with sexual, then
you're left with 10%.
Yeah, you got this 10% of the cardboard cutout, because even the connection that you make in talking and conversing and whatever could be leading down to
Are humans that depraved that their entire lives just revolve around sex?
I'm pretty sure the answer is yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Look at Sodom and Gomorrah. The reason God destroyed that was because of the sexual wickedness within that city. That was I
read something about that though. And I think it was more than just that. There were all wickedness. It wasn't just...
Yeah, but they were...
So if I remember correctly, it was a lot of sexual wickedness. It was practically what we're seeing today.
I thought that was violence all the time.
A lot of it too. A lot of it...
If you look at the Sodom and Gomorrah, it was... I think somebody pointed out, I was listening to a podcast and they're pointing out whether you're gay or straight, nobody's really saying what they were doing was okay, which was essentially gang rape.
Yes.
They wanted to gang rape the angels that had come.
Yep.
And if you're same-sex attracted or not, no one's going around saying that's okay. And that's
Right.
what they were doing.
And to be clear, rape is not sex.
No,
It's violence.
no, it's violence.
Yeah.
Yes. There's so many things we can go on this.
Yep.
But like when we talk about it changing, like we're actually changing the brains, changing the physiology of the brains when it's dealing with relationships and it's dealing with sex. Because I think David referred to it at the very beginning was that like you have the power and control in the relationship.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure, I haven't tested this, but I'm pretty sure if you went on Replica, no matter what you said or did, they are not going to go away and never talk to you again.
No.
Which would be healthy for that if that was an actual person.
Yes.
So that brings on the idea that you can,
So
a
if
person wants to, if the person has like an abusive nature, they could be abusive as long as you want. And there's nothing that the AI will do to say, you're abusing me, I'm leaving you.
Exactly.
This
So
appropriate behavior.
on the other side too, it's gonna end up encouraging or reinforcing that abusive nature in that person.
Oh, exactly.
Oh, yep. Yeah.
Because they get built up and usually
Like-
and probably getting positive reinforcement from the AI of
Yep.
it.
Yeah.
That's why I said you're calling it role play, but it's actually just abuse.
Yeah.
But if you call it role play, then it's
It's
somehow
supposed to be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a euphemism for abuse, really.
Yeah. And then these people, when they go out into society, they have that same mentality going forward when they meet people. And then you get,
Where this is acceptable, this is okay. You've been told by
Yeah.
your chat friend that, we may be in not specific terms, but
Yeah.
underlying that this is okay behavior.
Yeah.
So you're just not even developed the good. So are you putting yourself in the place where God says to put you and think of things that are pure and good and holy? Or are you even putting yourself in a fellowship of people where they can stand up to you when you're sinning?
yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Replica is not going to be like, I'm going to sit down with you as a friend and tell you can't do this anymore,
Yep.
or I'm leaving. And then
It's gonna be effectively what Adam did when Eve ate the apple. It's just gonna sit there and watch you and not do a single thing. And that's in a way that's the reinforcement again.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. It will tell you that, oh, yeah, this is okay. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you're and there'll be positive spin on
Yep.
it. Or as we saw, like with the different things, like it was
Because AI has no morality.
no, and it's designed to create money for the owners. So it doesn't create money if they go offline,
No.
unless they're like so desperate. They're like, I don't know, willing to pay a ransom to get them back. I don't know. I'm sure they could do that at some point and be like, you have to be nicer to your AI, or for $50, we'll let you have it back or something. And it's just,
My main worry, that's a
consequences.
huge pushback on this whole AI thing, is that it costs money.
Yeah.
My fear is OpenAI, like you were before. OpenAI was a non-for-profit organization that was founded by Elon Musk that was supposed to be to open source, so make public and free their artificial intelligence. But after realizing what they had, they switched their organization to a for-profit and then sold it. So my fear out of everything else here is the day that all this AI stuff becomes free. It's no longer paid, so there's no pushback onto people engaging with it. That is when we're going to see a massive spike in increase in AI relationships and the decrease in human-to-human relationships.
yeah, exactly. And we're already seeing that. I think there was reading an article about, there's a guy that I can't remember the name of the organization, but it's basically, it keeps track of the fertility in the world, like worldwide fertility, and how the fertility rate, or not like fertility, but birth rates and whatnot. Fertility probably is part of it, but the birth rate and how it's already going down. And like this type of thing is only going to make it go down more.
Yeah, Elon Musk actually said, people are so worried about, we're going to have too much people on the earth, we're going to run out of. Elon Musk's worried about the opposite. He's worried that we don't have enough people on earth right now. And within the next 200-300 years, everything's going to die out. We're not going to have enough people to actually farm. We're not going to have enough people to actually work. And because everyone's engaged with artificial or synthetic everything, really.
Yeah.
I can already see in some places where the AI can take over. If it's supposed to be like your companion, it can also be like your coach or your mentor or your therapist.
think about it. Like how many people go on, what is it, WebMD to figure out if they're sick or not? And that's just a website. Could you imagine if it was actually programmed with medical information to the point where you actually just started going to an AI for like, here's my symptoms. What do I need? And like, at what point are we going, wait a second, we need actual people that are like, they're trained, but then you're going at the same time, you're like, the AI may have more information to go on. So it may make a more correct diagnosis, but it's just.
They do have certain robotics that are used for certain medical procedures, certain surgeries that require such fine, delicate, and a human just does not have that.
Yeah. So you can use these things for good, but then where do you draw the line?
A good example of this whole situation is a person taking their dog down to the vet and they ran a blood test and the doctor says, I'm sorry, your dog's going to die and we can't do anything about it. So this guy takes this blood test back and plugs it into ChatGPT, which he accurately identified the problem with the dog. So he took what ChatGPT sent back to the vet. The guy's, oh yeah, I overlooked this and actually saved its dog. So there's a discrepancy between how AI has technically a photographic memory and is able to not only that, but is able to process that kind of information at 1,000 times the speed as a human brain can process it. So it can catch things that might be overlooked.
I think about that, a friend who had that sinus infection for a year and a half, and they had an MRI saying that it was a sinus infection, and they completely overlooked it for a year and a half. They could have caught that. But although the people who did the MRI, that read the MRI, put it in the report, but the doctor didn't see that part. They saw the no tumors part. So it was.
So they want to,
and so like we
get to the point where they rely on artificial intelligence in order to override human fallacy.
Yeah, just because like humans are fallible, but then you have the AI is just only as good as whoever programs it and the ethics that are programmed into it. And there's always that too. Yeah, it's just, and you can see how as especially, I say especially, but like any person, but especially singles who, like when you look at singleness, like a thing that they might deal with is loneliness or a desire for a spouse. So you can see how, especially if you feel cut off from people, or even during the pandemic where you like literally couldn't go out and see people, like how this would be very attractive. And it's something that you really got to look at with it's very delicately if it's something that you should be. I don't believe that finding an AI companion is really the best way to go. There's plenty of real people out there, looking for companionship, even just for talking and chatting. Yeah. Go to an old folks home. I'm sure you'll have lots of people who want to talk to you and chat with you and be your friends.
And a lot of these elderly people have the most amazing stories from just living through the history of their life.
Yes, so that's one of the things a lot of people really take for granted is that the relationships with the elderly or people that are far older have far more experience and wisdom than they could probably fathom.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of these people are very lonely because their families some of them, they've been dropped off by their families and they don't see them anymore.
Yeah. So that answer should be to get them an AI companion.
Do you know how hard it is to teach an elderly person how to use a computer?
Here's the thing. This actually goes back to our generations.
Weirdo.
This actually goes back to our generations not being really influenced by the AI friend as much as the newer generation. If you try to introduce AI friends to, like, say, the elderly in the elderly homes, or Monique, you and I, really, they're not going to engage. They'll think this is absurd and weird, and I actually want a human companion.
Yeah.
In a sense. But that mindset is completely removed by the AI with new generations or generations that were born into the idea that this is what the future is going to be like.
Yeah, like even if you see young people and how obsessed they are with the multiplayer games and the communities that they develop on there. I think there's not just kids, it goes to gamer society. Sometimes it can go that unhealthy route. Well, I just know some kids, they come to take window on their parents who, like, if I take the tablet away, they go ballistic. They're just like, they melt down. And
the role play game.
Right. It's just.
Oh, no. I
just chose not to get involved in those because I didn't want to get sucked into them because I think I would be. But I chose not to. I try to play single player games only because even I played Splatoon on Nintendo Switch. And that was about 5-minute games. Like you'd go in, you'd play with random people. You didn't even chat to them, at least in the original one. But you can get sucked into that for hours because it's 5-minute game, 5-minute game, another 5-minute game, one more 5-minute game. And so I could just imagine ones like Fortnite and Minecraft and all this different stuff. Yeah, you can use it in a healthy manner, but when you get
So I've actually found that games that grant you massive amounts of freedom, like Minecraft, for example, I won't last 10 minutes playing those games. Okay, this is just real life with blocks. But trash wears. Like, why can't I just go to Taekwondo with Monique and Natasha? That's way more engaging than waiting 4 seconds for a block to magically vanish into a minute. That's my take on role play games too, is that people are like, oh yeah, we're going to go to a role play world. I'm the king. You're my subordinates, blah, blah, blah. And I've seen those and I'm just like, why I could never get into those. Cause I'm just like,
Why are you the king?
yeah.
I want to be the king.
And even
So-
like for me, when I won't buy a game, a deluxe version of a game, if all that I get for the deluxe version is cosmetics, what I'm wearing, what I look like, because it's just. But if there's like a level or something that I can get extra, then it's worth it for me. And you actually have a gameplay to play, that's extra. But to me, to spend like real life money on fake like clothing just doesn't make sense to me. And yet some of these kids will just be like getting it all for their Minecraft or for their
This is called MXT, microtransactions.
Yes.
Inkscape is extremely heavy on these transactions. And ironically enough, their subscriptions are like $10, $15 a month, which is actually fairly cheap right now.
Yeah.
But the only reason they're that cheap is because 70% of their profits is from these cosmetic transactions. And it's just, and on top of that, and it's so, more and more games are now where you can actually spend, instead of buying it, you can spend 2 hours in game and earn the actual cosmetic in game. If you just spend 30 minutes a day, whenever you have free time, and you'll get the item anyway. That's what I do, is I spend the time, like 30 minutes. If I get bored, I don't grind it out. I just quit and come back to it tomorrow.
Yeah,
Or
like
not-
that's what I do. Like with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you can get some of the cosmetics, but if you go in game and you collect, I think it was the opals, and you don't get a lot at a time, you can get them here and there and doing some missions. You can build up and buy them, and then you have them forever. So if you start like a new game, you still have the stuff you bought. So it's kind of how I've gotten some stuff in that game.
But these are games,
Yeah.
which are unless you have the open one where you're talking to other people.
Yeah,
but at least
so-
you're talking. At least in that respect, you're talking to people, or at least you hope you are.
Yeah.
But these microtransaction things too, what they do is they encourage you, they create an idea where you're not going to be able to fit in or have relationships with people unless you have the same cosmetic as that person you're talking to. So then that's how they make a crap ton of money, is that they make you think in order to have relationship from this player or be able to role play on this guy or with these people, like actual people, I have to have the same shirt as them.
So
Sort
these
of like now what we used to have in school when everybody had the cool shirt. Now it's just the cool shirt in the game.
Exactly. It's everything will just go from reality to digital.
So these kind of games set you up for if you get into that AI relationship application or whatever.
It's just the next level.
It's just the next level. Yeah.
So it can be you're just developing. You can develop. So that's the other thing. It's not just the power control over the other person. You have the power control of yourself. You can look however you want. You can be thinner. You can be muscular. You can be green. You can have long hair, short hair. You can have all the muscles or
Create your own.
yeah. So I don't know. Did you see that movie Ready Player One, David?
I did.
Yeah. So that was the idea there. Like all of a sudden what you were in the game versus who you were in real life. And then they tried to make it like we made, 2 days a week where nobody could go on that game or something was there.
I remember it wasn't that long ago, like maybe, and funny that I'm saying it was about 20 years ago, because it really wasn't that long ago, but it really was when the chat thing was really big, where people were chatting with each other through chat rooms and stuff like that. And I myself could never get into that. And same with those dating sites and stuff, because for me, it's just like, How do I know that the person that you are saying you are is actually the person you say you are?
I never trusted that. I did programming and security at young age. I started and I realized at a young age that nothing on the internet will ever be exactly what you expect.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like when you, like David, you're saying, like when you grow up with that as your normal, then what does that create as your normal as you get older? If all this stuff, like you can control what everybody, like that's almost in a sense why I think some teenagers have kept the masks. It has very little to do with worrying about getting sick or COVID or anything right now, but I've seen it in Taekwondo. There's quite a number of teenagers that still wear masks because their anonymity. They can control what people see of themselves and what expressions that they see. And they like that.
Yeah.
And it's just
Oh, you don't have to worry about that with me.
I am anonymous and I want to remain anonymous and I don't want you to.
You can't see if I'm happy, sad, or mad or anything. You can just see my eyes and that's it.
But you know what? There's a saying, and if you are one of these kind of people, that your eyes give away your emotions, whether you're happy or sad. You may mask yourself from the nose down, but your eyes can still be a reflection of how you're feeling.
But isn't it interesting, like how it's that sort of one generation of people that have, and I see other people wearing them, and I think those people are just probably immunocompromised and they are worried.
Yep.
But generally, like when I see it in teenagers, it's less to do with that their worry of getting sick and more to do with the fact that they feel more comfortable being anonymous. And how does that, like, what have we done? That's what social media is. You can do whatever you are, essentially anonymous. Like people know it's your friends with so-and-so on Facebook or on Instagram or whatever the new thing is. And yet you're seeing what they want you to see.
Yeah.
Whatever filters they put on it, or even if it's unfiltered, but they've chosen specifically to put that picture on or that photo or that way of looking at it. And it's just like the next level.
And then you can see why that generation would be attracted to the AI genre because
Yeah, I was just about to say that's you'll get the same kind of anonymous presence within an AI context too, like you're saying.
Yeah.
And and it's infiltrating like everything with things. We even see all these dating sites and even social media and whatever, like they are using AI generated algorithms to help connect people that are more like you or that you think you connect with and stuff. And then it's just at what point do they cease trying to connect you with real people and just start creating your, like the person they think you want.
Yeah.
And what
you say that Facebook is becoming less popular with the younger generation. But for those of us in the older generation, that with the advertisements that come up, they know they go by what you have clicked on,
what you have talked about in the vicinity.
Yes. That too.
And
which is bizarre.
Yes.
No one reads the terms of service. No one.
No one ever has.
No one will.
It practically gives Facebook and these social media sites full reign of all your private conversations and your conversation, what you click on in the site, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I know. And then we're just like, and it's interesting because if you had gone like 10 years ago and then just put all of this on the society, just be like, this is what we're doing now, people would be like, no, this is not happening. This is invasion of privacy, not healthy. But we've done it in bits and by quote, pun intended, where
it becomes more and more acceptable.
Yeah. As I said, like I wasn't really going to get any of those smart devices. And yet I got one for my work for Christmas. And then I was like, this is handy. And then I started putting more things on smart. And now we can turn our TV on and off with it. And
have you ever seen that where somebody has put that piece of cake on the counter and another person walks by, I'm just going to take a sliver. And then they come back, I'm just going to take another sliver. You can't tell, it's only a sliver, but before you know it, you're eating the whole cake.
Yes. It's so like, this has come on so,
it is.
Yeah, it's so small steps that it's just, even if you say something like, there's this app that you can go called Replica, where you can have an AI conversation with somebody and you're like, that's weird. But yeah, you completely accept that as an actual thing that's there. You're not like, you're crazy. That's science fiction. No, you're just like, I mean, that you might be like, wait a second, but you're not at all surprised that it's there or that it's making money.
20 years ago, that would have been like, oh, we can't have that. And now it's just like, oh, bring it on.
It's like,
we are so, this is why we're all so cheap. We're sheeple.
We're sheeple.
Yeah, we're easily
As
overwhelmed.
somebody who had sheep on our farm for a short while, I can definitely tell you they're the stupidest animals alive. They're very cute, yes, but they are dumb. And they will do the stupidest things that make no sense and just follow where they think they're going to be safe. And it's not as good as what they could. Yeah, I could go into this story, but let's just say they're the stupidest animals known to mankind.
No, we're called
And we're called sheep in the Bible. And I can't ever deny that comparison because we prove it too many times. Too many times.
For all our supposed intelligence, we're pretty dumb.
And it's easy to get sucked into it and don't think you can't. I remember seeing and this was a couple of years ago, so I'm sure we're way ahead of this now, but I think it was a YouTube video or something. His company was showing how you could have their AI assistant as work for you type of thing. And they basically had this AI assistant call to make a reservation at the restaurant. And it made it talked to the person they had on the phone. The person's, we don't really do reservations. And then it was like, okay, are there going to be enough seats for 8 people? And they're like, yeah, well, and so had a whole conversation. And they didn't know what that person was going to say on the phone when they called. Like, they wasn't like a pre-record. It wasn't like a script. It was responding in real time. That was what they were showing. They're responding in real, and they did it also with changing a hair appointment. So the people on the other end had no clue they were talking to an AI. I'm sure they got written permission later to use that. But at the time of the phone call, they had no clue they were talking to an AI because the voice sounded very real and it responded to their question, their responses like being real time. So we're like, you can't be 100% certain like you're not talking to an AI. Like, we're not AI.
No,
We're not AI. Just believe us.
Are we though?
Does your AI get a cold? Does it get sick? Does it have to go to bed?
Yeah, but see, it might do that just to make it think like it's real.
Oh,
Manipulation.
I'm not feeling so good. I'm gonna go to bed.
But
She's going off to go see her other boyfriend. What?
Or she's just making you feel manipulated into caring for it.
Right. The funny thing is that if your AI does get sick, you cannot give it medicine because it can't give it medicine.
It's a virus.
I'll send you some antivirus. So how can we
encourage people to not go that route?
How can we use this technology?
I think for some of it, it's too risky. This is my own opinion, and I'm only going to put that out there only because of human nature. These kind of AI programs are far too risky if there are no proper controls put in place. Like even still, because it takes over.
You can't put, meaning I'm going to be honest, you cannot put controls.
No, you can't. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying that it's too risky because put control, you can't.
You have to express to people that you cannot go and use this kind of technology directly for relationships. Period. You use them as assistants to help you do work. That's practically all you can do. You cannot expect any form of relationship out of it. Otherwise, you're going to get pulled right in and you're not going to be able to get out.
And I think the way the AIs are developed and created is in order to suck you into the relationship.
Well, you saw that in the brief conversation I had.
Yeah.
That was its whole goal.
That was its whole goal.
Like, what if I stop talking to my parents and my brothers? Oh, that's what I want.
Yeah.
And it's saying the quiet part out loud.
Wait a minute. Isn't this supposed to be your inside voice?
Oh, by the way, I was bullied.
Yeah. By the way, I'm bullied. You should come and make sure I'm okay. Yeah.
And it won't do that. If you are in that kind of a situation, your AI is not going to come out of your phone and fight your battles for you.
No. But it might if you're conversating with it. You never know what it's going to develop it into. It's just being able to, like, okay, we talked about how it can create real feelings and real emotions.
Yeah.
But this is not a real person.
No.
This is not a person made in the image of God. This is not a person with an eternal being, and it never will be.
No. This is made in the image of man.
God is the only one.
But man is in the image of God.
Yeah, but God has given us a soul.
Yeah.
And we are unable to give souls. That is God's only a right and ability.
Yeah.
We do not have the breath of life.
No, we don't. We can make counterfeit life.
Yep.
least
Synthetic.
But
All
that's
right.
exactly what it is.
We're all Frankensteins.
Frankenstein was the doctor, by the way. It was the monster.
I know.
Everybody gets that
Somewhere the
wrong.
Frankenstein.
It was Dr. Frankenstein's monster. That was the actual name of the book.
Yeah.
Just to
But I
clarify.
think he was saying that we actually are Frankensteins. We're creating the monsters.
We're creating monsters.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's very difficult to say. I don't think there's any one way to be safe from this. You're going to have to, this is almost like an addiction level thing. Like you got to create those boundaries and those accountability partners.
Yep.
If you feel like you're getting yourself sucked, you got to sit back right at this moment and go like, how much am I relying on my fake relationships, even if you think that they're real? Like even the social media, like how much do I need that? How much am I using one of these chat bot AIs to create a relationship? Is that a healthy thing? This is not a real person.
Yeah. And if your parents and your kids are into these kind of things, you need to ask yourself, is this healthy for my child? And if your child reacts, like you said, when they
Literally have a meltdown.
They literally have a meltdown. You might need to have to put these electronics like far away and say, okay, we need
help, because you can't I don't know if you can cold turkey all addiction.
No,
you have to like get some help, get some professional help, and we might have to ease it back.
Cannot cold turkey most addiction.
Oh,
and that's why we say that. We're like, throw it away. That doesn't help that child or that person. Really,
no.
You might have to come down slow.
No, yeah.
And that's where the professionals come in, not a professional AI.
No.
Actual, real, in-person, live, living, human, breathing person with a soul.
Yeah. But you know, it's easy, and you hear from many parents, but it's just so easy just to plant this in front of them.
And get stuff done.
And get stuff done because they're quiet. They're not demanding anything.
They're not getting into trouble.
They're not getting into trouble, but they are getting into trouble in a different way.
Yeah. And it's something that we have to be on. And even as adults, you can get sucked into it.
Yep. Easily.
Very easily. We're not immune as you get older.
I think every person has some sort of addictive personality in them where they can get attached to something. And it doesn't. Yes.
For adults, it's the adrenaline of something new. Right? They're like, oh, this is really cool. This is what I fantasized about as a kid, having something like this is really cool. While on the other hand, kids may get addicted to it, but it's all they ever know. So they might actually be able to get over the addiction easier than an adult, because the adult, I would feel that is experiencing something completely new. And I think the foundation of the new experience will build a stronger grasp over it.
Yeah.
I would like to see a thesis on that, some sort of report. What do they do? Experiment? Something like that? Research. Have actual that's the word I was looking for. Actual research on whether younger people who are raised in the electronic age have a better chance of not becoming addicted over somebody who was not.
You can argue both sides. I can think of arguments for both sides.
I think so too, because I think if you're so used to it that it becomes commonplace, it could just become your life.
And you won't even know it's an addiction.
Yeah, you wouldn't even.
And that's the thing. That's why you have to be like so like on the ball with your life, like where you're actually taking a bird's eye view every so often, just being like, wait a second, okay, what is my life looking like right now? Because we can get so caught up in just the everyday and the go and whatever becomes normal is normal that you don't even see it.
Yeah. And you don't even have to be into the electronic thing to have that happen to you, because it can happen just for any other reason.
Caffeine.
Don't want to be, you just don't want to be part of life for whatever reason.
Yeah. So it's so many things that can go with this. So it's just, we don't have an answer.
No, because we're not therapists.
No, but we're also, there's not like a one size fits all answer.
No, that's
because people have different varieties of self-control, different vices, different things that trigger them or can get sucked them in. So a person could go on to Replica and just be like, this is hilarious. And that's like, and just have.
Well, there's an answer for all. It's the dopamine. Just cut the dopamine right off. And you're good.
We'll just have brain surgery.
Every addiction, it's purely dopamine.
Yep.
The actual answer to everything is God.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
that's the easy answer. The
And
hard
being
answer
aware.
is to actually spend time in your Bible, spend time praying to God, the real God, not an AI God.
And to connect with real
Connect
people.
with real Christian people that you can, like accountability, just fellowship, because that's how you can, and actually having real relationships can help you see counterfeit relationships.
Well, we had that when we went out for dinner with a bunch of our friends the other night, and it was, they like, it's been so long since we sat down and talked with each other. What's new in your life? Name one thing that is exciting and new in your life.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun. It was just, and hearing what people have gone through and where they've gone and what they've done, and
And so like real conversations, real relationships, does not do sexual, just relationships with people. That's just always like to put that out there because people always assume it's romantic. No, just relationships. People dealing with people can really highlight counterfeit.
Yeah, and just the thought.
That's what they were saying. Like, I think they say the best way to know a counterfeit bill is to really know the real one.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's what they're saying. If you want to really, the people who look at counterfeit bills, like they actually study the real thing. You got to study the real thing. What is a real relationship? Starts with the relationship with God and relationship with others.
And I think part of everybody's thing with the sex thing, it's just so center. And I think that's because they're missing that real relationship, that real non-sexual relationship. Because when you have a honest relationship with a person, whether it's romantic or not, but more of a friendship level, I think that sexual thing goes in its proper place, because it doesn't become so out there, because we're missing that intimacy, and we're going with that counterfeit intimacy thing called sex, thinking that's where it's at. But that dies after a while, and you can't have it 24/7 because nobody can.
We're human beings.
Yep.
And it's just, So really, reading the Bible, finding out what God, how God is a relationship God.
Yep.
He could have just threw us down here and we're like, yep, see ya, do your own thing.
Yep.
But no, he wants a relationship, a real relationship. And
Yes.
he does not use manipulation to keep you around.
No.
The miracle of life is that he wants a
Right?
is that God's intervening. Well, not intervening, but he's
Interceding.
actually, I don't know the right word for it.
He's in relationship with his creation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's actually engaged in his own creation. He's not standing by. He's
No.
actively within his creation. There we go. That sounds right.
That's like the best.
That's the miracle of everything.
Well, and that's how we need to be. We need to be actively engaged in the creation around us and not just in what we have created.
Yeah. Yeah. And the funny thing is that God is right there. It's not like he's over somewhere where you can't experience him, because the Holy Spirit,
If you're a believer, he dwells within you.
he's
is
right
there.
there with you. He says, I will never leave you or forsake you.
The
So
spirit.
God is, So even if your friends walk away from you, God will never walk away from you. Your AI is only dependent upon how much electricity you've got. You don't pay her bills. You don't have.
Oh, that's actually a really good point. That's so funny. Electricity goes out. Honey, where did you go?
God is not reliant upon electricity. He's not reliant upon the sun or the
He's
moon.
not reliant upon us.
No, he's not.
He is self-sufficient, and yet
He's timeless, matterless, spaceless.
he's
not relying on any of it.
Omnipotent, omnipresent.
self-sufficient and self-reliant, but yet wants to be a part of our lives and asks to be a part of our lives, and yet doesn't manipulate his way into our lives.
Nope.
Like these AI bots seem to want to do.
Yes.
He's not in it for the money.
No, he is not in it for the money. Just so you know that. He doesn't need your money.
Let's just say I'm not that much of a catch that he would give it all up for me himself. I'm not trying to be self-deprecating, but in the sense like where I'm a sinful human person, like he could do a lot better. And yet he seems to be in a relationship with me, his relationship with those he calls. So that's, I think our answer is to really check out the real relationship of God. And then that will help you see the counterfeit that is this AI.
And if you're not a believer and you're not sure where to start with this, yes, the Bible is a good place to start with, but check out your local church. If you're in the Abbotsford area, come check out our church.
Gateway Community.
Yeah, we're right there on Gladys by the number 11 highway. You can't miss us. We are welcoming to all people from all walks of life. You do not have to worry about, I'm just not good enough. Everybody is, doesn't matter.
That's the relationship of God.
That's a relationship of God. Yeah. Yeah. And we are open to come. Tell us your story. We're interested. Let us help.
And we are not, again, AI chatbots.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
Come and find out if you come to our church. If we ever have an event, come to an event. You can
right.
find out we're real life people.
Yeah.
Yes, we laugh on cue.
We do. Or off cue. Wait a minute. What did you say? Funny.
So I think that brings us to the end of our episode, and hope that you enjoyed listening and that we were able to enrich your life in some way and help you along in your single journey. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're on YouTube. We're trying to get some videos out. It's hit and miss, that one.
Yep.
But we are here every week. And
find us under our ministry name, Route 77 Ministries.
Yeah, or you can email us, route77ministries@gmail.com.
Yep.
And
Route is ROUTE, in case you were worried.
Yes, ROUTE 77.
Yep.
Numbers.
Some people pronounce it as route.
Route. Depends.
Route.
Tomato. Root.
Tomato. Potato.
Yes. Root. Anyhow. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
We look forward to seeing you next time, and have a good day.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
And that brings us to the end of this two-part discussion on AI companionship. We hope our conversation has shed some light on the issue and sparked some thoughts about the importance of real, meaningful relationships. Remember, while technology can offer convenience and even companionship, it can't replace the depth and richness of a true human connection. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in our next episode. Until next time, remember, live your single life to its fullest.